Smoke billows from huge craters where underground military bases used to be. Hunks of twisted metal are all that remains of air defense and radar systems. Buildings turned to rubble across the vast land. This is what Iran is likely to look like if the U.S. decides to unleash the full force of its military power on the nation. But which U.S. weapons should Iran fear the most? In this video, we'll explore the 5 U.S. weapons that terrify Iran the most and why. To be sure, Iran is nowhere near as powerful as the U.S.'s main rivals, China and Russia. But it's also far from the least formidable adversary the U.S. could face. Iran is ranked 16th out of 145 countries in the annual Global Firepower Review for 2025, with a military strength comparable to Ukraine, Australia, and its main rival, Israel. With a population of over 88 million people, Iran commands the largest military force in the region, with a total estimated military personnel of around 1.18 million. Of these, approximately 610,000 are active duty troops, according to Global Firepower. That includes about 420,000 in the Artesh, Iran's conventional army, and around 190,000 in the elite Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, with an additional estimated 500,000 IRGC reservists. Meanwhile, the country's National Police and Border Force, formerly known as Naja and now called Faraja, adds another 200,000 to 300,000 personnel, though these forces are often counted separately due to their primarily internal security role. Decades of sanctions and economic hardship have left Iran's military personnel woefully under-equipped and armed compared to the U.S., meaning in a land war these numbers wouldn't necessarily count for as much. However, quantity tends to have a quality of its own on the battlefield. More importantly, Iran's land forces aren't the core of its military power that the U.S. will have to overcome. In fact, it's not even anything military per se that presents the biggest problem for attackers, but the sheer size and geography of the country, which present both daunting defensive barriers and considerable opportunities for offensive action. For defense, Iran's relatively large size, around 636,000 square miles, slightly smaller than Alaska at 663,000 square miles, offers it significant strategic depth. Practically all its borders are well protected by sizable mountain ranges, especially the Zagros Mountains in the west. Also, the majority of Iran's critical population centers, including Tehran, Isfahan, and Tabriz, are either nestled in the mountains or are well insulated by them. This mountainous terrain has enabled the establishment of considerable defensive works, including expansive tunnel networks and underground bases, weapons storage facilities, and missile launching silos. These facilities compensate somewhat for Iran's weaknesses in air defense, air power, and the state of its armed personnel. A head-to-head fight between the U.S. and Iran's respective air forces and/or navies would be the proverbial men against boys, for reasons we'll get to a little later. As for shooting down U.S. attack aircraft and bombers, as well as incoming missiles of various types, Iran is also at a substantial disadvantage. It does have relatively modern Russian systems like the S-400, S-300, and Tor-M1, plus a wide array of mostly homegrown radar systems like the Falak, Sefer, and Gadir. But these installations are limited in number, so the size of the country and its many borders work against the Iranians here. Iran is estimated to have thousands of missiles and drones, though claims of over 100,000 are likely exaggerated. U.S. officials assessed in late 2024 that Iran had more than 3,000 ballistic missiles alone, with the total number of munitions, when including drones and short-range systems, likely much higher, but still far below 6 figures. With ranges between 120 and 1,250 miles, these weapons could be a serious thorn in the side of the U.S. if it ever launched a full-scale attack against the Islamic Republic. While Iran has long claimed to cap its missile range at around 1,250 miles, some systems, like the Khorramshahr, are believed to stretch that range even further, possibly up to 1,864 miles. So, now we know what the U.S. would be up against. Let's take a look at how these defenses would be overcome. One of the primary targets of a U.S. attack is bound to be the large, underground military facilities, ammunition storage sites, and missile silos dotted around the country. It is from these facilities that Iran's main resistance to any attack would emanate. Enter the U.S.'s fearsome bunker buster bomb. The GBU-57A BMOP, short for Massive Ordnance Penetrator, is a precision-guided 30,000-pound bunker buster bomb used by the U.S. Air Force. The GBU-57, or Guided Bomb Unit 57, is substantially larger than the deepest penetrating bunker busters previously available, namely the 5,000-pound GBU-28 and GBU-37. Due to its size, it can only be carried by large bombers like the B-2 Spirit. More on that a little later in the video. The GBU-57 has a length of 20.5 feet, diameter of 31.5 inches, and weight of 27,125 pounds. It was developed and tested through a USAF and Defense Threat Reduction Agency partnership in 2004 and has undergone several upgrades to enhance its penetration and explosive capabilities, with successful test drops conducted in 2014, 2015, 2016, and 2017. The MOP can penetrate nearly 200 feet into the ground before it detonates, making it an essential tool for targeting heavily fortified underground structures. Indeed, the MOP is believed to be the most powerful and deeply burrowing non-nuclear bunker buster on the planet at present. The weapon is guided and can impact the surface above its target with a high degree of accuracy. It consists of a BLU-127 warhead, a KMU-612 tail kit, BRU-72 bomb rack systems, MOP loading adapters, MXU-1012/B separation nuts, ground support equipment, separation nut simulators, and associated training items. Just one of these bombs should be enough to penetrate most underground facilities, and each B-2 can carry two at once, one in each loading bay. But for particularly deep and well-fortified targets, the GBU-57's precision guidance means multiple bombs can be dropped on the same target. Dropping a second bomb, or even a third and fourth, directly on a target one after the other should enable penetration to a depth of hundreds of feet, enough to take out even the most resilient fortifications. But it's not just its ability to carry and launch this awesome bunker buster bomb that makes the B-2 Spirit such a nightmare for the Iranian leadership. The Northrop B-2 Spirit, also known as the stealth bomber, is an American heavy strategic bomber featuring low observable stealth technology designed to penetrate dense anti-aircraft defenses. A subsonic flying wing aircraft with a crew of two, the plane was designed by Northrop and later Northrop Grumman as the prime contractor, with Boeing, Hughes, and Vought as subcontractors. Between 1987 and 2000, 21 B-2s were produced at an average cost of $2.13 billion, which today would be over $4 billion each. The B-2 is the only acknowledged in-service aircraft that can carry large air-to-surface standoff weapons like the AGM-158 JASSM cruise missile in a stealth configuration. As an alternative to GBU-57s, it can drop conventional and thermonuclear weapons, including up to 8,500-pound class Mark 82 JDM GPS-guided bombs, or 16 2,400-pound B-83 nuclear bombs. Other conventional weapons in its arsenal include Mark 82 and Mark 84 bombs, CBU-87, combined effects munitions, GATOR mines, and the CBU-97 sensor-fused weapon. Beyond its stealth features, the high altitudes at which it operates make it extremely difficult to track, let alone target or shoot down. The combination of low observability and high flight ceiling also increases both the range and field of view for onboard sensors. The B-2 features a sophisticated GPS-aided targeting system, GATS, that uses the aircraft's APQ-181 synthetic aperture radar to map targets. This allows the B-2 to strike from altitudes of up to 50,000 feet, with an unrefueled range of more than 6,000 nautical miles, and over 10,000 with a single aerial refuel. It has a maximum speed of 630 miles per hour at 40,000 feet and cruises at 560 miles per hour at the same altitude. Primarily designed as a nuclear bomber, the B-2 was first used in combat to drop conventional ordnance during the Kosovo War in 1999. It has since been used in Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, and Yemen. What does this all mean for Iran? It means they face a stealthy, high-altitude predator capable of delivering massive destruction, conventional or nuclear, before they even detect it. The B-2 Spirit is not the only aircraft that will make the Iranian leadership feel like the sky has fallen. They will also have to contend with the F-35. The Lockheed Martin F-35 Lightning II is an American family of single-seat, single-engine, supersonic stealth strike fighters, a multi-role combat aircraft designed for both air superiority and strike missions. It also boasts electronic warfare and intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance ISR capabilities. The aircraft has three main variants: the conventional takeoff and landing, CTOL, F-35A, the short takeoff and vertical landing, STOVL, F-35B, and the carrier variant, CV, F-35C, which uses catapult-assisted takeoff and arrested recovery. The carrier variant may be particularly relevant, as we'll see shortly. The F-35 first flew in 2006. The F-35B entered service with the U.S. Marine Corps in 2015, followed by the F-35A with the Air Force in 2016, and the F-35C with the Navy in 2019. The aircraft was first used in combat in 2018 by the Israeli Air Force, one of several U.S. allies now employing the fighter. The U.S. plans to buy 2,456 F-35s through 2044, making it the core of U.S. crewed tactical aviation across the Air Force, Navy, and Marine Corps for decades. It will also remain a key part of NATO and Allied air power until at least 2070. So what makes the F-35 such a critical part of U.S. and Allied strength? And why does it keep Iran's generals up at night? It comes down to firepower, stealth, and maneuverability. The F-35 is the second fifth-generation fighter in U.S. service and the first supersonic STOVL stealth fighter. It emphasizes low observability, advanced avionics, and sensor fusion to offer situational awareness and long-range lethality. Its sensors and mission systems are why the U.S. Air Force uses the F-35 as its primary strike fighter for suppression of enemy air defenses, SEAD, and air interdiction. To stop a U.S. attack or strike back, Iran must be able to detect, track, and defeat the F-35. That's no small task. The F-35's stealth design includes a wingtail configuration with canted vertical stabilizers, leading-edge flaps, flaperons, rudders, and stabilators. Its Chinese extend forward to the inlets. The diverterless supersonic inlets DSI use a compression surface and forward-swept cowl to divert airflow into a wide duct that feeds the engine. These design elements make the F-35 extremely hard for Iranian radar to detect or track. It is heavier than older lightweight fighters, with the lightest variant weighing 29,300 pounds empty. This weight comes from internal weapons bays and advanced avionics. But it's not a drawback when facing Iran's outdated aircraft or intercepting missiles and drones. All variants can reach Mach 1.6, even with full internal payloads. While it's not a supercruiser, the F-35 can dash at Mach 1.2 for 150 miles with afterburners. Useful in combat. Its large stabilizers, Chinese, and rudders provide excellent high angle of attack performance, with a trimmed alpha of 50 degrees. Fly-by-wire controls and relaxed stability give the F-35 excellent handling and resistance to departure from controlled flight. Its avionics and sensor fusion provide pilots with unmatched situational awareness and control, supporting network-centric warfare. Key sensors include the Northrop Grumman AN/APG-81 AESA radar, BAEs and SQ-239 Barracuda electronic warfare system, the AN/AAQ-37 electro-optical DAS, Lockheed Martin's AN/AAQ-40 EOTs, and the AN/ASQ-242 communications, navigation, and ID suite. These sensors work in harmony to deliver a complete, real-time picture of the battle space, coordinated with air, land, and sea assets. But sensors mean little without firepower. The F-35 has 2 internal weapons bays, with 2 stations each, plus 4 external pylons. The inboard bays carry air-to-air missiles, such as the AIM-120 AMRAAM, and will later support the AIM-260 JRTM. The outboard bays carry JDAMs, paveway bombs, AGM-154 JSOWs, and smaller munitions like the GBU-39SDB and GBU-53B Stormbreaker. The external pylons can carry larger weapons, such as the AGM-158 JASSM, on missions where stealth isn't required. The F-35A is certified to carry the B-61 Mod 12 nuclear bomb as of 2023. Altogether, it can carry up to 8 AMRAAMs, or a mix of bombs and missiles including 6 2,000-pound bombs, 2 AMRAAMs, and 2 Sidewinders. The F-35A includes a 25mm GAU-22A rotary cannon with 182 rounds, mounted internally. The F-35B and F-35C use a centerline gun pod with 220 rounds, designed to preserve stealth. Bottom line, a single F-35 squadron could suppress Iran's air defenses, defeat aerial counterattacks, and clear the way for B-2s and bunker busters to destroy Iran's ground-based military infrastructure. However, the F-35s will have to take off from somewhere, and this is where the fourth ominous U.S. weapon comes in. Though to be fair, It's probably more accurate to describe it as a floating, high-tech military island rather than a weapon. We're talking about aircraft carriers, the ultimate symbol of U.S. expeditionary power, and an area where the U.S. maintains an unmatched lead over all its rivals. In particular, we're talking about the Gerald R. Ford class aircraft carrier. These nuclear-powered carriers are currently being built for the U.S. Navy, which plans to eventually field 10 of them, replacing older carriers one for one. The first in the class, the USS Gerald R. Ford, CVN-78, was procured in 2008 and entered service in July 2017. The second ship, the USS John F. Kennedy, CVN-79, is scheduled to enter service in 2025. The Ford class has a hull similar to that of the Nimitz class it replaces, but carries a slew of technological advancements developed through the CVNX/CVN-21 program. This includes the Electromagnetic Aircraft Launch System, EMALS, a revolutionary new catapult system using linear induction motors instead of steam pistons. EMALS provides smoother aircraft launches, puts less stress on airframes, is lighter, more cost-efficient, and easier to maintain. It also allows for launching both heavier and lighter aircraft, making it ideal for deploying F-35s. Another groundbreaking feature is the Advanced Arresting Gear AAG system. It replaces traditional hydraulic arresting systems with a more modern electromechanical setup. Hydraulics are excellent for stopping manned aircraft, but can damage lightweight unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs. The AAG uses rotary engines and water turbines to provide precise energy absorption, allowing safe landings for UAVs as well as manned aircraft. This effectively transforms the Ford class into not just a carrier for planes, but also for drones, massively increasing the variety of threats it can project. The carriers are also outfitted with next-gen radar and defense systems. The USS Gerald R. Ford features the dual-band radar, DBR, which combines the X-band AN/SPY 3 multifunction radar with the S-band AN/SPY 4-volume search radar. These are spread across 3 phased arrays, allowing for simultaneous low-altitude tracking, radar illumination, and wide-area surveillance. However, due to high costs and complexity, later Ford-class carriers, starting with the USS John F. Kennedy, will instead be equipped with the Enterprise Air Surveillance Radar, EASMR, a next-gen radar derived from the AN/SPY-6 family. Positioned off Iran's coast and supported by destroyers and other U.S. Navy vessels, even a single Gerald R. Ford-class carrier can nullify Iran's naval capabilities, launch F-35s at will, and provide intelligence and battlefield awareness to the entire strike force. But there's another threat from the sea Iran must contend with, and this one doesn't float on the surface. It stalks silently beneath the waves. Enter the Virginia-class nuclear-powered fast-attack submarine, also known as the SSN-774 class. The Virginia class is the U.S. Navy's newest cruise missile submarine, designed for both blue water and littoral missions. It specializes in anti-submarine warfare, intelligence gathering, and strike operations using Tomahawk cruise missiles. In service since 2004, Virginia-class submarines are expected to remain operational until at least 2060, with later models active into the 2070s. Each is expected to complete 14 to 15 deployments during its 33-year service life. As of now, 24 Virginia-class submarines are in service, with 66 total planned. Depending on variant, they displace between 7,900 and 10,200 tons underwater, are between 377 and 460 feet long, and 34 feet wide. They can exceed 25 knots submerged, with unlimited range and endurance limited only by food and maintenance. Why is this so terrifying for Iran? First, these submarines could be anywhere, undetected. They incorporate advanced stealth, including a water-backed large aperture bow, TLAB, sonar array, which enhances passive detection and reduces life cycle costs. Second, they carry tremendous firepower. Early models, Blocks 1 and 2, have 12 vertical launch tubes for Tomahawk cruise missiles and four 21-inch torpedo tubes for Mark 48 torpedoes or Harpoon anti-ship missiles. Later models, starting with Block 3, replaced the 12 vertical tubes with two large Virginia payload tubes, VPTS, each holding 6 Tomahawks. Blocks 5 and 6 introduced the Virginia Payload Module, VPM, which adds 4 large tubes amidships, each capable of holding 7 Tomahawks. That's 28 more missiles, bringing the total vertical launch capacity to 40. These submarines still retain 2 VPTs and 4 torpedo tubes, giving them the ability to launch up to 25 torpedo-fired weapons as well. Modular construction means easier maintenance and faster upgrades, keeping these subs cutting edge well into the future. For Iran, that means devastating power could emerge from the depths at any time, ripping through their naval forces or launching precision strikes against command centers, infrastructure, or missile sites deep inside Iranian territory. Put it all together, and Iran faces the full spectrum of American military might: stealth bombers, stealth fighters, supercarriers, and stealth submarines. A devastating combination of air, sea, and subsurface power capable of decimating any organized resistance in record time. By combining these weapons, the U.S. should be able to quickly neutralize not only Iran's air defenses and naval threat, but also eliminate its stockpiles of missiles and drones. But what do you think? Are these truly the weapons Iran should fear most? Or are there others that could make an even bigger impact in a real-world conflict? Let us know in the comments, and thanks for watching.